Sup, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I want to talk to you guys about Mythic Plus and the role that I'm increasingly seeing it play in terms of in-game progression gearing. Now, the reason I'm making this video and what kind of brought this to my attention is that I opened up my character tab and I was just looking through my gear to see what I could use for upgrades, what I could do to kind of get myself to that next level. And besides relics, there's only about a half a dozen items that I have on my character that I've even gotten from raids. Everything else I've gotten from either Mythic Plus, from PvP, from some sort of RNG box like the I think I got a heroic box that had an 890 helmet on it. So all of these items that I've gotten, and less than half a dozen of them besides the relics, I've actually received from raids. And so that gets people, and it gets me, and it gets probably a lot of other people to start asking the question, are Mythic Plus dungeons, are PvP rewards, and is World Quest Titanforging and just Titanforging in general making raiding increasingly less relevant? And I think this is going to be less of a conversation whenever Nighthold comes out, obviously, because that's whenever tier bonuses are going to come out, and those are going to be exclusive, to the best of my knowledge, to Nighthold. And also, I think there's a couple like really good trinkets that you're going to have to go into Nighthold for as well. But outside of that, there are so many items that, because of how many different items can drop in Mythic Plus, and the fact that you can target at least a certain amount of them through only doing one Mythic Plus dungeon over and over, how many items actually have the best optimization and itemization for your character out of Mythic Plus? For me, as an arms warrior, there's only maybe half a dozen, not even that, probably like 3 or 4 at the absolute most, items that I can receive from Emerald Nightmare that would actually be an upgrade over the most ideal item that I could get, or an equivalent item that I could get from Mythic Plus. So most of the Mythic Plus items that have like haste mastery, they're more balanced towards mastery, and mastery is my best stat. And so obviously the Mythic Plus leggings, let's say from the Court of Stars, the Arcane Defender's leg plates, I believe, are going to be just that little bit better than the Lithri Rinferel leg plates that have haste mastery, because of the budgeting values of those two items. It's a little bit different. The Arcane Defender's leg plates have more mastery, and the Lithri Rinferel ones have a little bit less because they have a little bit more haste. So at this point, it kind of makes me wonder, and whenever I make these videos, I kind of, in a way, like, so here's kind of like the way that I'm looking at this, is that whenever raiding isn't the most relevant thing in the game, raiding takes a huge amount of time, right? Raiding is, like, that's why it was so much easier to make a 10-man guild than it was to make a 25-man guild, is because of the 15 extra people that you've got to deal with, and more realistically, about 20. You know, dealing with that interpersonal guild stuff has always been probably, I mean, realistically, like, a lot of people think that PvE isn't hard, and you're completely right. It's really not very difficult 90% of the time, unless you're playing at, like, probably a top world, like, 50 or world 100 level. But what is difficult is to get 25 people together, 20 people, even 10 people together every single night for a couple of nights of the week, and have them not hate each other, okay? Especially to go through challenges and failures and still achieve and succeed beyond those. So whenever raiding isn't the best way of getting gear, that all that extra work, all that extra stress, all that extra complication is so much less valuable. I remember I used to want to raid. It wasn't because I wanted to deal with, 24 or 39 at the point whenever I first started in vanilla, 39 other morons to actually get some gear. It's because that was the only place I could get tier 3. Not that I ever got it in vanilla, though. But what I'm trying to say is that that was the one way that you could get it, and so everybody just, would just grit their teeth and do it. And now whenever they don't have that option, or they don't need that option, there are options, I think that's a better way of putting it, between PvP gearing and also Mythic Plus gearing primarily. I think that we've been seeing this a lot recently, is that mini raids, and I think it's going to be even more common in Nighthold, and the harder the raids are, the less comparatively valuable it is to do them, right? Now, raiding at this point is still the most valuable per hour spent in terms of getting gear, in my opinion, just because there's such a smaller loot list and the item level baseline drop rates are so much higher, that raiding is still going to be the best use of your time if you're only putting those 4 hours a week into it. But what's important to notice here is that if you're raiding with any sort of a mythic guild, you're probably raiding on a schedule, right? So you're going to have to get on at, let's say for me, it's like 8 p.m. and you're going to have to be on until 12 p.m. So if you don't want to do that, you're obviously got a ton of different problems. Or is that 12 p.m. or 12 a.m.? I don't remember. It's basically till midnight, okay? That's the important thing. And so sitting there in front of the computer for 4 hours a week, 3 nights a week, is yeah, 4 days, whatever, you guys know what I'm saying. Basically it becomes less and less appealing the more other options that you have that are available to you. They can reward you with, at least in some period or some times, even better gear than you would get in the raids in the first place. Now, Emerald Nightmare was really easy, right? Emerald Nightmare was, even Mythic Xavius was very, very easy to do. The first 4 bosses, or 5 bosses, really are pretty much a complete joke, and especially the first 4 minus Il'gynoth. They're very, very easy to do, and so we've been seeing a lot of people clear 7 of 7, but as we go into Trial of Valor, I think we're going to be seeing a lot less guilds doing Trial of Valor Mythic, because not only the difficulty and the comparative gain of doing that compared to just spamming Mythic plus dungeons, but also whenever we move into Nighthold, I really hope that the tier set bonuses are going to be compelling enough to keep those raiding guilds together. And the more times that there are more options to get this gear outside of raiding, I think it's just going to erode more and more of the raiding scene, which is, I think, a bad thing for the game. Now, I've always raided, pretty much always. I've been thinking about quitting, actually, not because of it, well, partly because of this, but a number of other things too. For the time being, I've decided against it. I'm going to continue raiding, but it's even made me consider, because of the Mythic Plus dungeons, for a lot of reasons, that I can actually get even better and better itemized rewards from something that doesn't require a dedicated specific time commitment. So I feel like Blizzard, I don't really know what they should do here. I don't know if they should just make raiding gear just by default better than Mythic Plus gear, because if they did that, then it would make Mythic Plus less relevant. So I don't necessarily know what they really should do. I think that with all the different item level Titanforging stuff and everything, it's kind of opened up a whole big can of worms in terms of problems with incentivization for different types of content. So I'd actually kind of want to ask you guys, how many pieces do you have that are actually from raids? And if you have a lot of pieces from Mythic Plus dungeons, like how many dungeons have you done? And ultimately, like, what the most important thing is do you feel like you're spending your time in the most efficient way whenever you're raiding? And if you're raiding in a guild, have you wanted to maybe move over to just doing Mythic Plus dungeons? That's kind of the way that I felt a little bit, especially whenever we're able to target gear and bring like a full plate group or something like that. It's extremely efficient. So whenever these options are available that don't have that specific time commitment, I'm not going to be surprised whenever more people start looking at those options. And that goes for PvP too, but PvP is much more difficult, I guess, than just doing a Mythic plus 12 or something like that each week. So I'm going to have to see how this is going to turn out, and I just really hope that Blizzard is going to know what to do whenever Nighthold comes out in terms of making this gear valuable, making it worthwhile, and making raiding still one of the best ways of getting gear in a game. I think if they don't do that, we're going to see a lot of people that are going to probably stop raiding, or at least not raid quite as much, which I don't really think is a good thing. Raiding has probably been, like, raiding in WoW has probably been like the main staple of in-game content, and it's been one of the big ways that people can actually get together and have those interactions. I think that people that have those social interactions are less likely to quit the game, and they form more cohesive groups, and I think it creates a more positive MMO experience. And so I don't really want to see Blizzard erode that, but at the same time, being able to do Mythic Plus dungeons and get good gear is fun too. So I don't really know what they should do. I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. As I said, usually I go into these videos and I have kind of a specific point of view that I'm trying to put across. And with this one, I kind of do, of course. I always have a specific kind of point of view, but ultimately, I don't really know where they should go from the point that we're at right now. But it definitely seems like something should at least be considered. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. But either way, thank you for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe.